exhibit virtues of civility, integrity, and professionalism. We actually have a code of professionalism for our organization. As a member of ABOTA, I shall, each and every one of you shall, always remember that the practice of law is first and foremost a profession. I shall encourage respect for the law, the courts, and the right to trial by jury. I shall always remember that my word is my bond, and honor my responsibilities to serve as an officer of the court and protector of individual rights. I shall be respectful in my conduct toward my adversaries. I think that that is the utmost of our responsibility to one another, to set an example to all those in the outside world. I can honestly tell you that the person I'm introducing has adhered to each and every one of these principles throughout his distinguished career. Melvin Wright, born into a family of peanut and watermelon farmers in southwest Georgia. He began his career as a trial attorney 40 years ago. After graduating from the University of Georgia in 1981 with a Bachelor of Science degree from the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, he attended Mercer University Law School in Macon, Georgia. My friend joined my law firm in 1993, devoting 100% of his time, dedication, and career to the representation of injured people who have suffered due to the negligence of others and institutions. For the past 32 years, we have practiced law together. We have been victorious for our clients. We have suffered gut-wrenching defeat. But regardless of the outcome, Mel Wright has been relentless as an ethical trial lawyer. He's the past president of our Central Florida chapter of ABOTA. He is board certified in civil trial law. He is board certified by the National Board of Trial Advocacy. Many of you know Mel's work as a trial attorney. You've been kind enough to refer him cases and clients. You have fought on opposite sides in disputes with him. You have stood side by side with Mel in his professional endeavors. So you know what I mean by ethical standards. Mel has championed several clients all the way to the Florida Supreme Court when necessary. He has served on the Creditors Committee, representing hundreds of people across the nation who suffered serious injuries and even death as a result of the negligence of a compounding pharmacy which manufactured injectable steroid solutions tainted with mold. Mel was instrumental in achieving a nationwide settlement on that Creditors Committee, one of 8 members of that committee. A settlement that totaled almost $200 million to help fairly compensate all of those victims. He also represented the surviving spouse of a World War II veteran who died from lung cancer after years of addiction to nicotine. Mel obtained a plaintiff's verdict of $6.8 million against R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, an incredible feat to take on and win a case against Big Tobacco. Mel was relentless in his pursuit for justice against the drunk driver who tried to avoid responsibility by filing bankruptcy. After receiving a final judgment of $20 million on behalf of his quadriplegic client, Mel has continued to pursue collection and satisfaction for his client in an effort to help provide the day-to-day needs for this quadriplegic. The number of multi-million-dollar verdicts and settlements are too many to list, let alone detail to this audience. But the stories of those conquests, the pursuit of justice, the personal interactions that Mel has had with so many of you could fill the entire afternoon. Dave Paul had mentioned to me just recently that one thing about Mel, and this is so true, He's the same great guy today that he was 30 years ago. I know that one of the proudest accomplishments in Mel's life was winning Rochelle's hand in marriage. We all know the saying, behind every great man is a great woman. I think it's more fitting to say next to every great man stands a great woman. Rochelle, this recognition today for Mel would not have been possible without your commitment and devotion to your husband. This is truly a package deal. It gives me great pleasure to introduce my law partner, my friend, and your trial lawyer of the year, Melvin Wright.
Whatever success I've had practicing law has been accompanied by a pretty large dose of very good luck. In fact, one could say that professionally, I kind of started on third base here in Orlando. I graduated from the University of Georgia in 1981. I then went to Mercer Law School, got my law degree there in 1985. And when I came to Central Florida to start interviewing for a job, just every office I went into, there was a big gator on the wall. And I thought, good Lord, I'm never going to get a job. And then David Parrish, some of you may know David Parrish, a well-known workers' compensation lawyer here in town. He was a Mercer University graduate. He'd do anything for Mercer grads. So somehow he bribed a bull gator named Ronnie Walker to hire me for my first law job. And I always wondered, why in the world would a bull gator, Ronnie Walker, who actually I think was a fullback at Florida in his college days, why would he hire me? A bulldog. Well, I figured it out pretty quick because as soon as football season came around, Ronnie had me be the designated driver of his blue and orange RV to the games at the Swamp. But over time, I realized, what a stroke of luck it was for me to start out at Ronnie's office, where I was able to see Ronnie Walker. It was called Walker, Miller, and Ketchum, by the way, and it was a spinoff. The old-timers in here will know it was a spinoff from Bob Montgomery's original insurance defense firm. And there were some of the greatest trial lawyers in the state who had been trained by some of the greatest trial lawyers that went before them. And I had no idea about any of that. And here I am working with Ronnie Walker, Walt Ketchum, who's a good friend today. He couldn't be here today. He called me yesterday just to let me know. And I was able to walk around for the first couple of years of my practice, carrying Walt Ketchum's briefcase, carrying Ronnie Walker's briefcase, and learning how to be a trial lawyer. And not just learning how to be a trial lawyer, but learning how to be a pro, a professional. These guys were all pros. And it was years later that I realized, man, did you luck out. I would have paid them to work for them. And that is the honest to God truth. All the lawyers at Walker, Miller, and Ketchum were great. Glenn Whelan here in town, many of you know him. And, with that introduction to trial practice, I then started encountering, many other great trial lawyers here in Central Florida. Some of y'all may remember Jim Driscoll, who defended State Farm back in the day. I'll never forget going to one of my very first depositions solo with Jim Driscoll. Here I was, so green, really not knowing what I was doing, and he was so kind, and he guided me along the way, while at the same time representing the interests of his clients. He didn't take advantage of my inexperience and my youth. He was a pro. I could say the same thing about many of the lawyers that I've encountered over the years, especially as a young lawyer, including Sammy Cacciatore, John Overchuck, John Bussey, and many others, too many to name. Then I was proud to get hired by Gurney and Hanlon, who allowed me to really sprout my wings and try cases as lead counsel early in my career, and when I was barely 5 years out of law school. It was like my uncle tossing me into the deep waters of the pool to learn to swim. But it was good experience. So I have to thank Walt Ketchum, Ronnie Walker, Mike Miller, Dennis O'Connor, John Sewell, Leon Hanley, Frank Pierce, as well as all the others at those two law firms that really molded me into a profession. And I've also got to thank many of the lawyers in this room that I've tried cases with and against over the years that helped mold me. Vinny DeCero, Keith Mitnick, John Bussey, too many others to mention really. One thing you learn early practicing law is that it is not a solo sport. It's not playing tennis. It's a team sport. And if you don't have the right support team behind you, you're not going to be successful. So I have to thank and point out my two paralegals, Beth and Mary Rivera, no relation to each other. Beth has been with me for over 30 years, and that is almost unheard of. Mary's been with us for several years, and both of them fit like a glove into our firm. They care about the quality of their work, and they care about our reputation, and they care about my reputation. Dependable, thorough, loyal, caring. I thank you both for making me look better than I am every day. And also, thank you to my family that have supported me and understood with love the long absences on business trips and during trials. My son, Detective Wright here, and his girlfriend Ivana works for us. She's working for us in intake. Has always supported me, and my daughter, of course, Melanie, is working with us now, and they're a source of great pride and support for me. But most importantly, I have to thank Rochelle. She came into my life when I most needed her, and she's always been my biggest cheerleader. And I want her to know that I'm her biggest cheerleader. One of the greatest privilege of my life, Rochelle, has been spending the last 30 years with you. And here's to another 30. And finally, to all in this room, I would just thank each of you for being a positive influence in my life. More than anything, no matter what your chosen career, life is about building relationships and choosing to be around people who make you a better person. If any of you have ever watched the old, and I'll date myself here, but if any of you have ever seen the old 1980s era TV miniseries Lonesome Dove with Robert Duvall, you'll remember he played Gus McCrae on the ranch in Texas. And above the entrance to the ranch was a sign that bore a Latin phrase that I won't even try to pronounce. But the Latin phrase was verbatim, "A grape changes by seeing another grape." And it was a metaphor for how people are changed by the company they keep. We're all influenced by the people around us. And everybody in this room has influenced me and made me better. This is probably the only chance I'll get in my life to say to all of you, thank you for that.